Hi Deepak,
Hi.
welcome back to SudeepAudio's channel.
Yeah.
We've all been missing you for some time now.
Not missing. I've been following all the other big music composers, technicians, and like I would love to watch everyone.
Thanks for that. In this video, we want to capture some questions that we face, as a music pro audio distributor also, or uh, as a portal that a lot of people send us emails from various parts of India, asking that, oh, we were very happy to see Deepak sir's journey and some tips and tricks he shared with us. But one common question that comes from a lot of these home-based music producers and composers is that if we make a song at home with all the software that they buy from us and other equipment, if you approach an engineer like you or somebody else, will that make my song really different? Will it make it like wow and that kind of? So I'm sure you also get a lot of such inquiries or people meeting you and asking you such questions. So what would you guide them?
So basically, we as any producer or this thing, we have to think only one thing is like an engineer's job is more like a Photoshop in a photo. Whenever you edit a photo, when you shoot a picture in a night, and you expect a Photoshop to do it like a day shot, it can never happen. And this likewise, like if you're recording everything in a very like the environment is not good. Like say if your room is not so acoustically done and all, so whatever obstacles will come, those all will be adding on in when I'm mixing or anyone is mixing or expecting enough, like say in a home environment, like even now I follow everything in my headphones. Like say I follow like I do listen to Billie Jean, so where that is like my reference since my whenever I started mixing. So I listen to it like say 5-6 times, then I just have a reference point, so I go mixing with that. So in that way, if when you're doing everything in the box, in the headphones, and you know what you're doing, that's not an issue. You can do program anywhere in the place. But when you're recording, capturing audio, you're recording a guitar or a mic or anything through a mic, so the whole room acoustics, the room changes and all. So I tell them also, rather you should have done that. You spend that a little in the studio, go to the studio, dub the guitar or dub the voice or chorus, whatever. So at least those which can be taken through mics and all, those we have to go to the studio and capture it properly. So that will be great. So as I said, like we are like Photoshop only. Whatever you do at the end of the day, we can just emphasize, make all the things much cleaner. Or so our job is more balancing and all. So but after pitch correction tools and all have come, so engineer's job has gone little much higher. Like say we have to tune also sometimes. So if have to tune in the sense. I might not like something is going out of tune. So me being a musician also, I tend to correct it and all also. So that job is excess. So it's like cutting a bird sound or a traffic noise. All those whatever recorded in the home studio. Somewhere you can hear some pee pee cake.
Really?
So I might have to like mute that or clean it up. So if you had have gone to a studio and record that, it would have been great like that.
So like you're saying, if there's any input happening of an instrument or a voice through a microphone, then it is best to record in a proper studio.
Yes.
And then send the song to mix.
Correct.
But if you take a bad picture, like you said, picture in the night mode, and you expect like a bright sunshine,
Correct.
then that will never happen.
Yes.
So when you get such projects, have you first of all got such songs in the past, or
Some songs like some voices were there where they didn't had any body, because some places they must have recorded so much of like room reverb is there, where the voice is like not so projected and that whole room effect comes so,
Okay.
so too much, where to control that it affects complete music. So either you need to duck down the whole, like say, some boomy rooms will be there where you need to duck down all the 300 hertz and all, like say, that will affect the whole music. So a vocal track or any solo, they are the face of the whole song. Imagine a voice is not there, the whole song is nothing.
Okay.
So whatever music is there, so the voice has to be always in the prime position. So yeah, like you can do your scratch vocals, or I like the vibe and also I'm doing all the chorus section or anything. That's also okay, but you can never. I can't say I'll never, but I don't. I rather suggest that do it in a proper room or a better one.
So you immediately tell the client that please go back and redub the
Redub or
voice.
That's always better.
Look like you take on a lot of freelancing work, and a lot of producers from Hyderabad, Chennai, Bombay give you songs to mix. So what is your working style? Like you just shared with us that you try and save time by, while traveling and all, you try and do some tidbits of mixing so that you save time when you come to studio.
Yeah, like
But then how do you prefer working on a proper song when you're like fully into it? What's your
like
pattern?
all the tidbits in the car, in the hotel, those all happens like naming a track or coloring the tracks. All those, like say, which when I work, when I go to the studio, it's always yeah, I'm set to work.
So you don't waste time.
Yeah, all
in
the,
the
in all
studio.
those, like so, the precious studio time is not wasted. So all the small naming parts, those are very important.
Correct.
When you start.
Correct.
So all those happens there. And my working patterns timings are like, say when I used to work for Salim Sulaiman, all their many of their scores I mixed it. So the studio timing was like they all used to leave in the middle of the night at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the night. Until 11 o'clock the studio was free. So instead of using a smaller studio for the pre-mixing and all, so I wanted to use the big studio. So I used to wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning and then go and work. So till 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. Or sometimes I was really feeling tired, means I used to sleep for 1 hour and then go back at 3 and all. So that timing was really great. So, and when I started working with Rahman sir also, like all the many major mixes happened in the morning, like 3 to 7. So I felt that's like more of like the meditation space, like more. And even when I was a kid also, I used to wake up, just like tomorrow is the exam in the morning, I used to wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and I used to study. Where that was more, the concentration used to be more tighter than like say in the morning that someone will come, a door knocks, all those.
Okay.
So in the day generally, even if I work also, it's like almost like getting prepared for the night. It's all, so make all the things.
So how much time do you take in mixing a song when you get all the tracks and a session?
Okay. So many times, like say before the mix, so many things to be done. Like say her voice has to be corrected very nicely. Like if the singer sang amazingly, like without any flaws, pitch correction, like all those. And, so that will be really great. Like say singers like a Sonu or a Shreya, like many singers I'm saying, like down south, Balasubramanian sir, where the song used to happen within 5 to 10 minutes. The major final take with all the expressions, like he used to ask like which hero, who is a new hero, how he looks like, so everything. So I recorded like many songs where happened the miracles happen within 10 minutes and the song is over if there's any lyrical correction. So where the whole song was clean and everything. So music part also, like without any like many of the songs which are coming to me to mix, where are somewhere there's a fault or something, some a fill is not played perfectly, can you copy that one there, right? So many of the editing jobs are coming even when a song is coming to me.
Okay.
To the mix.
So
Sometimes many songs which come, they correct and they give me a dry file also, which was like say an uncorrected ones. So if the corrected one has an issue, then I go back and I do all those. So to make the whole thing perfect, like perfect and like say up to the good stage. So everything is not like us. Like say when you open the door, if there is a bathroom, it's not good. So rather you want when you enter a home, you want to make it a hall, then go into the bedroom, then a bathroom. So whatever you feel, you need to correct them. So once you start mixing, you don't want to face all those problems when you start a song. So all this happens, and I take 1 or 2 days time, give it a break, and then start. So usually at least if everything is up to the mark means like what I like. Another engineer might like he might just put all the voices into one bus, all the rhythm into one bus. So it depends on each style, like so how you want it to be. So I do that. So when I need at least 2 or 3 days time once I correct all the full song. So then I start. So many times like when I go to Rahman's studio or anything, like movies like Slumdog or a Rockstar or Delhi 6. Those were done like when we sat for the mix, me and Rahman sir, when we sit, means before that all the corrections were done and all. So we sat and like a Rockstar we finished at like 10 to 15 days maximum.
Because all this was
done. Pre-production was it's always everything was done. So we sat, finished, and gone. So that's like more like a mixing. So say what used to happen before, like there was like 100 musicians used to play and everyone. So without any glitch, without any mistake, they used to record, and there's no like mixing engineer's job was not so great at that, means not so much for that time, where the recording engineer used to be a major, he's like a king at that time. He used to be a recording engineer, he is the main part. So if there's any issues, he used to take care, put the mic, everything was done there.
Okay.
Now people are recording in a hotel room or anywhere they're recording. So more work happened now, more work shifted to the post. So post mein dekh jayenge. That whole dialogue started only because of
That's true.
the software can do anything. You can remove the noise, but artificially you can remove the noise, but the whole essence goes off.
Okay. So is there a fixed, once you get the project corrected and color coded, named, everything is done, then how many hours do you spend on a mix?
And that too, it depends on a song.
Okay. There's no formula that in 3 hours I will knock out a song.
No.
There's nothing.
And say if it's a rock song, completely a cleaner rock song, so it's always a formula that a drum, we need a nice reverb for the drums or the overheads. So it's like a formula written on the charts. Like so, easily we can change it, like a bass guitar, 2 guitars, or a piano. So it's a easier formula. But in our Indian music, what happens is we have so much of like say a rock feel comes, a rock guitar comes, and suddenly a chapki or tabla comes, and suddenly a chorus la 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 comes. So we have so much of so many things to do in Indian music, where in a Western music it's like more, it's an orchestral Western classical, or genres are done, and according to the genre it's easier to approach, and to get a feel, we can just listen to some Metallica or a Guns N' Roses if it's a rock song, and like it's easier. Like say if it's a orchestral song, I'll just listen to some nice orchestral this thing or a score, and then start a mix. So it's much easier. In our Indian this thing, we have many genres in one song. Yeah, one khichdi will happen.
Right. So there's nothing like you need a minimum of so many hours, or there's no such formula.
No. We have the deadline. We have the deadline to finish. So 90% I generally cross the deadline. So, but at the end of the day, we have to have the song to be running for a longer time. So mix runs for a longer time also, it's not an issue, because we are helping out the song to shape well. It's people think that we are running out of deadline. At the end of the day, if you mix everything in the deadline and give it, people might just forget in that lesser time how much deadline you have, that much that much lesser it becomes, because fast too much of the things done. In a way, like say we finished in 1 week or 2 weeks time, like big movies, means there are like 3 or 4 heads are sitting on it. Yeah. So so many add-ons will happen that time.
Correct.
So someone gives an idea, oh okay, so I'll do this. So one guy is doing something other. So that's an advantage, having like a teamwork always.
That brings me to the next question. We have nowadays a new culture of one film, many composers. Right? Similarly, one song, many engineers. So tell me something from your experience. How can we have a song, or what happens rather, one song and 4 engineers working on it? So what exactly goes behind the scene?
See, it's always good, no? Say some are really great in recording, audio recording, capturing things. Some are really good at editing part. Like say, so a guy who's recording great tone, sometimes he might not edit well musically. So he might be helping out on all the editing part, and I might not be great at something else. So it's like it's always good to have like different. So I'm not doing all the stuff. Let's say I'm just sitting in the last stage. So sometimes people who are doing everything, so they might be stuck in that stage somewhere. No, yeah, I don't want to edit because the fill is very good. I'm really loving it. A guy who's editing, he might not like it because something else is obstructing, so he might mute it off. And when it comes to my situation when I'm mixing, so something, if that fill would have unmuted, it will be great. So after everything is done, the composer and the final mix engineer will say, okay, just chop it off or just delete it off. So it's always good to have like 2-3 engineers also, like, so everyone's job is like kept cleaner. Like when Jaane Tu Ya Jaane Na was there, I was called only to just correct the vocals and just any chorus is not happening, just record it again. Only for that I was being called to do that.
Okay.
So then suddenly Rahman sir said, like, okay, Deepak, you're a programmer also, just touch up the Pappu Can't Dance. So I started programming on that song. So it's always, so when I'm clean tune it and all, so then the work would be easier for Sridhar sir at that time. Sridhar sir or a KJ, whoever was mixing that time. So that would be easier. So instead of tuning all vocals and everything and mixing also everything, so it's too much of burden. It's so much of work happening in one end. So
correct. So, but there are no creative differences. That there's no that's his job, that's my job. Is all clearly defined. There's no
all
there's
defined.
no confusion. There's no overlapping. That why are you interfering in my editing? Why are you interfering in my
No. That's why it's always better to just show that your part is this, your part is that. So that has to be shown only when a composer shows up. Or else what happens? Okay, all the 3 engineers work on together, it will become like the first ball of Lagan. Everyone running on the same ball. It will be the same.
Right. It's like maybe one patient being operated by 3 surgeons. So.
Yeah, it can happen, but everyone cutting the same nerve.
Same organ is not.
Yeah.
Great. So Deepak, thanks for your time, and we'll catch you again with some more questions.
Yes.
And
yes.
we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye. Bye.